Today is October 18th, 2022. I'm your host, Isaac Foxx, and this is Action Wrestling News, a show that gives you wrestling insight, news, and opinions daily. And today, we're going to be reviewing Monday Night Raw, and I'm going to be going through a few other updates. So before I get too deep in that, just so you know, if you didn't catch it, yesterday I did a watch along with Monday Night Raw, and it was a pretty interesting show. Unfortunately, towards the end, I think I started nodding off when I watched it back. That's a combination of the show itself was fine. It's just I should work on taking a nap or something before I do those live streams, because it was like a 4-hour live stream that we did, because we had a pre-show running at first. And then, of course, Raw itself is like 3 hours. So, but yeah, if you want to check it out, very first live stream, I plan on doing those roughly once a week. I believe I had a different schedule before, but I'll get into that in a second here. But yeah, about once a week is when I'm planning on doing those. And go and check it out, actionwrestlingnews.com. Let's pay a couple bills here. If you would like to support the show, you can donate $5 for a shout out. Shout out to Twitter, Instagram, period. Just go to actionwrestlingnews.podbean.com to donate. You will see a link that says support the show at the top of the page. Also, the best way to support the show is to share this with your friends, and to please give us a review on iTunes. If you would like to contact the show, you can do so by sending us an email at actionwrestlingnews@gmail.com. And like I said earlier, we are also on YouTube, which is, again, Action Wrestling News. So, in news today, as you know, AEW Dynamite is going to be airing today. Now, under normal circumstances, this airs on a Wednesday, but they rescheduled the show to air today because of the baseball game that's airing tomorrow. Well, courtesy of PostWrestling.com, I actually just found out that the Yankees and the Guardians game was supposed to be scheduled for Monday, but there was a rain delay, so that game was actually postponed for today at 4:07, so actually in about 10 minutes or so, that game should be starting. So that means that they have about 4 hours to play the game, and then Dynamite comes up. Now, 4 hours should be more than enough time to play a baseball game, but it's the playoffs, and you never know. We could hit extra innings, we don't know. So we'll see how that works out, because unfortunately, I know the game definitely takes priority over AEW. So, and this is interesting. We'll see what happens there. If all things work out, shouldn't be an issue. But if all things work out, right? See what else do we have here? Right, got to do a slight tweak to the schedule this week. Originally, the idea was I was going to be doing a live stream for AEW tonight. I'm actually not going to do that. If I could be real, I realize how taxing it is to do live streams, and trying to do it back to back might not be ideal. So I'm just going to dip my toe in the water a little bit, and see how this goes by doing it. The whole once a week situation. But what you're going to get today, of course, you're getting the Raw review podcast. Now, tomorrow you will be getting an AEW and NXT review podcast, because, as you know, AEW is going head to head with NXT today. So we'll see how that works. Everything else is staying the same. We're still doing the ECW One Night Stand on Thursday, from 2006. We're doing that review. And, of course, on Friday, we're doing a prediction show for Halloween Havoc, and a review of an independent wrestling show that I have yet to disclose yet. But that's the schedule. That's where we're going to be going from there. So let's just dive right into this. This is not going to be that long of a show like my other shows. This might be. We'll see. We'll see how where we go here. But let's just dive right into the matches here. So we get on the air The very first interaction we have here, we have Bobby Lashley in the ring, and he's calling out Brock Lesnar. Now, I already knew that this is the direction that they were going. They're looking to have Lashley and Lesnar at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. And this is what you would expect. You got Lashley calling out Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar goes out to the ring, and then they just fight. Got the pull-apart brawl, gets slammed through the apron, or gets slammed through the table, gets speared through the barricade, pull apart, boom, 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 and we go to a commercial after all of this is over. I mean, it's what you expect, and I mean, look, it's fine. I'm sure the match will be fine. I do hope that it actually is a match. One of the issues that we could see here is that this is not really a match. It's just Brock Lesnar just destroying Lashley, or if each dude just doing their finishing moves like over and over and over again, like when you're playing the video game and someone just hits the spam button over and over and over and over again, just someone hit X or X and A, just because these two can go out there and have a real match. Hell, they're two legit mixed martial art guys. I mean, maybe you can mix in some of that. I know that's definitely wishful thinking, but yeah, this should be a good match. I mean, it should be decent enough. Once again, not watching that Crown Jewel pay-per-view, but I'll hook you up with the results when that happens. But again, we got a whole month from now. That's on the 5th of November. We got 3 weeks from now. So, and that's how we go off the air. Well, that's how that goes off into the commercial. Our next match is the OC versus the Alpha Academy. The OC wins when they hit the Magic Killer on Chad Gable. I mean, this was a pretty decent match. When I was speaking about this on my live stream, I was wondering what was the purpose of having this match in the first place, of having the OC go up against the Alpha Academy. Obviously, this is just to give the OC some type of credibility so they can look like winners in the eyes of the fans. But, I really question, in this day and age, do you really need to do that? Everyone knows who the OC is. We know who Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are. We know who they are. And do we really need to put them in the ring with somebody and bury someone trying to get someone over? I mean, Alpha Academy is already kind of buried to begin with, but I don't know. Like I was saying yesterday, I just don't see the purpose. But hey, I'm also not a promoter and I'm not running a wrestling company, so hey, what do I know, right? But it just seems, I don't know, it seems unneeded. You feel me? After they win the match, we have the Judgment Day. They come out. Finn Balor calls out the Judgment Day for the match at Crown Jewel. Once again, this is what we're getting. We're getting the OC versus the Judgment Day at Crown Jewel. So I guess this means Carl Anderson is not going to be going to Japan to drop that championship. It's probably just going to be vacated, or I'm sure they could do some kind of deal where maybe he wrestles before, or something will happen, or maybe there's an injury angle. I mean, I'm sure we have time. Something is going to happen, but I think it's looking more likely that it might just be vacated, because I'm pretty sure a booking at WWE is a lot more money than being booked over in Japan, even though he is the current champion. But yeah. But what this does set up for tonight, or for last night, it sets up AJ Styles going up against Dominic Mysterio. I mean, that match was what you would expect that match to be, but we'll speak on that later. But that's what we get: AJ Styles versus Dominic, and that's coming up later on. I believe they had that match like an hour from this point, because Dominic was like, I'm not really ready, but I'll see you in about an hour, feigning the fact that he has to stretch, get ready, all that type of nonsense, whatever. So moving on here, we get to the promo. We have Seth Rollins. You got Seth Rollins in the ring. You got him speaking about what it really means to be a champion in WWE. And he claims that he tapped out as a strategic move so that he can beat Bobby Lashley. Speaking of things of obviously this was nonsense, but speaking of that type of logic, I've always wondered something. Why don't all the heels just cheat to get themselves disqualified to be champions? Why don't they just go in the ring and just smack the referee just to get DQ'd? Sure, in storyline you could get fined, but eventually you'll get fined, right? Or just walk out the ring and get counted out. What would be the purpose? Well, why not? Now, obviously, that's a loophole that I'm speaking on that I'm sure no one has ever actually done, because in reality, it's kind of false advertising to say that we're going to have this match, and then instead of having the actual match, you have that, a non-match, and someone just walks away, and then we just move on. We just move along. But, yeah. So, again, yes, Seth claims that was just a strategic move. So he could beat Lashley later on in the night. Or, I'm sorry, the next day, or that next Monday, because that was on a Saturday. Sure. I mean, would he really need to preserve himself? How would that be a strategic move to what? Claiming he tapped out not to get hurt. He came there severely injured. His ribs were already taped up, and he had quote unquote broken ribs on Monday. So what's the difference? It didn't even matter. But in any event, as he's saying is, we have Mustafa Ali. He goes out there. He said he wants to have his U.S. title shot because Lashley promised to give him a shot. Of course, Rollins could care less. Then a brawl ensues. They fight each other. Mustafa takes a nasty shot to the ring post. So we got Seth Rollins. He kind of slings Mustafa Ali, and he just hits the ring post, just kind of spins. I'm going to assume it was a great sell job because it looked like he broke his jaw. It looked pretty devastated. But I guess it was just it was a real good job at selling that Mustafa did there. So we do look at Mustafa later on in the night. I believe Riddle walks up to him and he's saying that that if he wins the title, he would give Mustafa a shot. I'm gonna need Mustafa to do something else. If he really wants a shot at his title, just take it. Just attack someone, be a heel, do something. This clearly isn't working. It's getting him beat up. It's got him beat up twice, basically, from back-to-back weeks by the same person, actually. He needs a new strategy, So rolling on here, our next match is Skye and Dakota Kai going up against Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. So this was a pretty decent match. Skye and Dakota Kai win. I believe they win right. Kai and Skye hit a wheelbarrow slam on LeRae for the win. Yeah, it was a pretty competitive match. Honestly, it seemed as if the match was basically dead until the times when Belair was actually in the ring. Whenever Belair was in the ring, it was pretty hot. But I don't know. I guess Candice LeRae, she's really not good at evoking enough emotion when she's in the ring, but I guess it makes sense because Belair is the champion, so it makes sense that she's able to go in there and, get the crowd up, get them ready to fight. It's a whole, get the champion there ready to go, but yeah, I don't know. But again, it was a decent enough match. So Skye beats Dakota Kai, or Skye and Dakota Kai beat Bianca Belair, and there we go there. So now, this is what I was speaking of earlier. Out in the back, we have Matt Riddle going back to these nonsensical promos where he's talking about whatever the hell. Help me understand something. So we have it where Riddle goes over Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules, right? This monumental win. Finally goes over his rival. And then the next time we see him, or I guess the week after we see him or whatever, he's just he's back to speaking nonsense. He's back to just ridiculousness, and it's like, is this supposed to be someone that we're supposed to see as a champion? This is someone that we're supposed to see as someone who can be a winner. I mean, I guess somebody likes it. I'm not sure who someone is, but somebody enjoys it. I don't know. And I like Matt Riddle. It's just all the things he does that are outside the ring. It's just all the goofiness, all the coming down the ring on a scooter and all this nonsense. It's unneeded. But when he gets in the ring, he's a killer. Let's get more of that. So on the back, we got The Miz. He's pretending to have slipped and fall on some water because, as you know, he has the match with Dexter Loomis later on in the night. So we got The Miz. He pretends that he twists his ankle or something. I think later on in the night, he acts as if he needs surgery on his leg. He tells the doctor, go ahead, do the surgery right now. I guess they can perform leg surgery just in the trainer's room. That's some doctor, man. But it's all to avoid Dexter Loomis. It's all to avoid him facing Dexter Loomis in a regular match, which we actually do get that. Did I write that down? I don't think I did. We'll speak about that a little bit later. I can speak about it now because it wasn't really a match. So by the time they get to the point where they're supposed to actually have their match, you see Loomis coming out there, and then The Miz just wallops it with a chair, just basically beats the shit out of him continuously. And there we go, no match. Because, right, I should bring up the fact that at some point it's revealed that The Miz, of course, is fine because he tries to run away when someone says, oh no, it's Loomis. So, yeah. So one thing I should bring up, we did get a little bit more into the story. Apparently, according to Johnny Gargano, The Miz is hiding something. There's a reason he doesn't want to tell the world what happened to him when he was with Dexter Loomis. There's some kind of secret, and apparently Gargano is going to be a whistleblower. Hence the fact that he had a whistle around his neck. He's going to be a whistleblower, and he's going to tell the world what happened if The Miz does not. So, we'll see what happens from there. Like I said when I started the stream, like I said yesterday, like I've been saying since last week, we need to move on from this storyline. Either have Loomis just beat the shit out of The Miz, or have The Miz screw Loomis. Doesn't matter. And I like that Loomis. I like that character. A character of someone who's like a psycho. That's fine. I mean, this is wrestling, right? That works for me. But let's get somewhere. Like let's get something going there with this feud. Let's move on. Let's either get exciting or let's move on. One or two. So rolling on here, we got Cora Jade in the back. Pretty standard stuff here. She wants Rhea Ripley to be her partner. She wants Rhea Ripley to come to NXT so to set up the pick your poison match that she is having with the other opponent. I forget her name. The other opponent at NXT later on today. So, and then later on, moving on, the best segment of the show, we get JBL coming out there, John Bradshaw Layfield. It's been a real long time that we've seen JBL, the wrestling god. He always comes out there in the suit. I think he traveled back to 2005 because he had the 2005 NBA draft collection on. I mean, what was he doing? Like that was my man, his character has been wearing a suit for the past 10, 15 years or whatever the case is. Bruh, my man, like he was walking around in balloons, bro. Like, what is he? This isn't even this shouldn't be about that. But that was just so distracting. He came out there in that big ass suit. Like, bruh, he went to the tailor and they were like, what size you want? Yes. Like just JBL. I saw online someone said JBL stands for just by large because you know what? And I'm making fun of it, but in all seriousness, what probably happened there is maybe he got to the show and he didn't realize he was doing something, or he realized he had to put on a suit, and maybe he had to borrow somebody's suit. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Next Monday when I see him, I hope he got a suit that was tailored. I'm sure he can afford it, or hell, it ain't even got to be tailored. Just go to Burns & Co. Factory and get you a suit that is a smaller size. You'll be doing just fine. But in any event, it looks like what we're about to get. We're about to get JBL. He's going to start becoming the manager of Baron Corbin. You know, as much as I was saying, I was praising how amazing and how great this was in the moment on the live stream, but given a day to think about it, JBL honestly he's too big of a personality. He's too big of a heat magnet. He's too big of a heel to be with Baron Corbin. He's going to overshadow him. I mean, JBL, we're in an age where everybody knows wrestling is just a television show. And JBL is like one of two people who can go out there and make everyone hate him. Like, literally one or two people in the wrestling business have that type of ability. But I get what they're doing. They're trying to do whatever they can to get Baron Corbin over and to give him something. But, man, I don't know if JBL is the move. Because he just seems like such a strong personality. I mean, we'll give it time. Hopefully it works. Hopefully that's fine. I mean, he can definitely get him some heel heat. He can definitely do what he can to get him over for sure. But I don't know, man. JBL might just be too. He might just be too good to work with the Baron Corbin. But I mean, we'll see. When this pushed us into our next match, which is Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. I mean, this match is what you expect. Baron Corbin wins. Throughout the whole match, we just have Corbin essentially destroying Dolph Ziggler, just throwing him around, beating him up. Ziggler got a little bit of a comeback, but it didn't really work. It was just a showing of how good Corbin is. I will say, I really do enjoy JBL being on commentary. It's great. I miss the insults. But I gotta say, I kind of miss JBL being on commentary. He just goes in there, he just attacks Kevin Patrick, which, man, such a stark contrast because you got Kevin Patrick, the new announcer. He's real quiet, to say the least. He's a soft-spoken man, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, if you're an announcer, that may or may not work. We'll see. Maybe he's just uncomfortable. We'll see as time goes on. But then you just got JBL just going there, just railing into him. It's just it's hilarious. But yeah, again, Baron Corbin wins, beats Dolph Ziggler. There we go. And of course, in the back we got the Miz. Well, right. I already spoke on that. Well, basically, the Miz is trying to get out of the match, but he gets tricked into finding out that his leg is not injured. So we end up having the match and the end of the result of what I said earlier about him basically hitting Loomis in the back with a chair and it being, the match never starting. So it looks like Omos is going to SmackDown later on Friday to face Braun Strowman. We're going to get an Omos versus Braun Strowman match, which is going to suck and be terrible. As much of a spectacle as it is to have two big giants, these two big monsters going after each other, it doesn't really work. The only time I've seen that work is when we had the Big Show going up against Mark Henry. By the time those two men faced each other, they were like legit veterans and had been doing this for decades. So they knew what to do. They weren't new people. Like, Omos is new. He's very green. He's still learning what to do. And sure, Braun Strowman is not that new, but Braun Strowman ain't no veteran either. Like, he's still out here learning and improving and getting better. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It'll be something. That's probably another match for Saudi Arabia whenever they announce it. It'll probably be some kind of pull apart brawl, some kind of fight. But that's another Saudi Arabia match for sure. They did a promo recap. So basically, they did a recap of the promo that Bray Wyatt did on Saturday. That was always fun. Then we got Cameron Grimes in the back. He wants the OC to tag up with him later on NXT, later on Tuesday. And then we get our match. Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. Dominic wins. This match is 100% AJ Styles. I'm not sure if Dominic gets any offense. Dominic tries. The only time Dominic gets any offense is when he ends up able to take advantage of the cheating by the Judgment Day around him. But the match ends like this. Rhea Ripley holds AJ Styles' legs probably as he's about to go for the phenomenal forearm. And then Dominic Mysterio is able to roll up AJ for the 1, 2, 3. We're in the back. We have Damage Control. They're cutting a promo, basically saying that they run the locker room. They're the best. They're they're the best thing going in WWE. They're the best thing going in the women's division. That's their whole deal there. Back to the ring. I believe this is after the commercial break. We have Elias Is Back. And we have Elias with a piano, with 2 guitars. He gets ready to, he said he had this heartfelt song that he's ready to share, with the world. It's really emotional. He's ready to just let everybody hear it. And as he starts playing the piano, then Matt Riddle comes out there, and Matt Riddle says, "Hey, bro, do you want to share a bong?" Of course, they're playing off the fact that Matt Riddle is a weed smoker, and Corey Graves has to correct that. Well, bong is singular for bongo because he had a pair of bongos out there, like the tiny drums. But I mean, we know exactly what what they were doing. 420 sailor just smoked your ass, right? Yeah, exactly. And he had the 420 shirt on, but I mean, I'm sure they weren't promoting, the weed smoker for the kids, right? But basically, what this becomes, just got Elias being interrupted by several people. Seth Rollins comes out there again because Riddle is out there. Oh man, what happened here? Right. So you get Riddle on the mat about to play the bongos with Elias while he sings his heartfelt song, and then Seth Rollins comes out there, and it just gets distracted and it gets blown up because he can never get to finish his concerts. But that leads us to our main event, which is Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle for the United States Championship. Seth Rollins wins. Man, what happened here? I have my notes are confusing me. I have Rollins goes right into an arm breaker. Riddle has this triangle hold locked in after different scenarios. Right. So there's a point in this match where you basically have Matt Riddle. He has his triangle hold locked on through a pinfall. He has it locked on through a powerbomb, through a reversal, through them going out the ring, through a long sequence of things. Eventually, Rollins finally manages to get out of the triangle hold, and Rollins manages to hit the curb stomp on Matt Riddle after a distraction from Elias for the 1-2-3. I'm still not sure what Elias was doing, because I don't know if he was going to go in there and distract Seth Rollins. I mean, what was the purpose of that? That was weird. But in any event, curb stomp, Rollins wins. He is still your United States champion. Not that there was any doubt, but. And then, of course, we then have Mustafa Ali. He goes out there, he attacks Seth Rollins, saying that he is his problem now. So I guess that's going to be our new I guess that's going to be our new program. We're going to have Seth Rollins versus Mustafa Ali for the United States champion. That's not going to be a Saudi Arabia match, because Mustafa Ali, he protests Saudi Arabia every time that they go there. So that match is not going to be there. It'll be on one of these SmackDowns or one of these Raws or whatever. But that's the show. So that is your Raw review for October 18th, 2022. And again, I will be back with you all tomorrow for a pretty good review on it's going to be a double header. So we're going to do a review on AEW Dynamite and NXT, because both shows are on today. So I'm going to have to end up recording one and watching the other one. But like I said, I'm watching AEW live, and I'm recording NXT, and then I'll watch it later on, in the night. But that is the show. So if you would like to follow us on Twitter, please do so at AWN_IF. If you would like to email the show, please do so at actionwrestlingnews@gmail.com. Also, check out our website, actionwrestlingnews.podbeam.com. If you would like to support the show, you can do so via PayPal. There will be a link in the show notes, and you can find a link on the website itself. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just search for us at Action Wrestling News. There, I already have the live stream on from yesterday, and I will, in the future, we'll be doing live streams. And like I said, this podcast that you're listening to right here will be on YouTube along with any other podcast that we do. But if you are looking for action, wrestling, and news, keep it right here every Monday through Friday. Have a great day, everyone.